Hello and welcome to MasterGamingFlats. This is a sister channel to Master Gaming VR, and I am Master Shadow. We are going to be going over Rekindling today. This is a game that is currently in development. It is a single dev game, and it is kind of along the lines of RimWorld. You're going to give your survivors orders, tell them what to build and how to build it, but their own AI is going to sort of just go do their own thing and do jobs. And you can manipulate that a little bit, but let's check the leaderboards really quick. Looks like maybe a leaderboard reset today. Okay. So an update was just pushed. We are on beta 0.25.0. This is going to be sort of a first steps, what you should do when you start playing, and sort of explaining the UI as it is now in beta 0.25.0. So let's go ahead and jump into a new survival. Immediately you're going to be greeted with this screen here for your survivors. And you can see that, bad chef, he refuses to cook food. You probably don't want that. You want a lot more green here. Healthy, camel, nimble. You can see that mousing over these gives you what they mean. And this is probably okay. It's got a red here. He needs time to relax, but he moves faster. He can go a long time without drinking water, and he's resistant to disease. All of that is really good. Plus, their individual stats here. I don't really pay attention to their stats yet, but it's a thing that maybe you want to, pay attention to. You probably don't want anything like the bad chef where they just won't do anything. Oh, this guy's got tough bowels, and he's an insomniac. So hey, good to go. Perfect. And if you don't like any of their names, you can come in here and rename them to Better Nam. He's Better Nam now. So won't go outside of this box. You've got a, what is that, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 character limit on names, which isn't that great, but you can change their names if you want. You will eventually get more survivors as the game goes on. So when we click start, we are dropped into this world map. This is actually not a bad starting position. It is finite bounds. It's not infinite. It is procedurally generated, so it is different each time. So you can see about how big the world map is. It's not huge, but it's not small either. When I start, I generally just stay exactly wherever the game puts me and work with what I've been given. I don't try to scour the map and say, oh, right here is perfect. It's not a bad spot. You've got cover on all sides, plenty of stone to mine. This is a really good spot, but I find moving over here is more cumbersome, and it delays your start. Maybe later in the game, after you're a little established, coming over here might not be a bad idea, but for the most part, you're just going to want to start right where you are. So the first time you start the game, you will have a tutorial that will sort of explain the various elements on the screen. We're just going to go over them because I've already been through the tutorial. So starting in the upper left hand corner, this is your day indicator. This will tell you what day you're on, and this will rotate to show you your day-night cycle. You have your pause, your 1x speed, 3x speed, 5x speed. You pause the game with space, and then Q will cycle through these speeds. Very important, space and Q for when issuing orders and then speeding up. I usually issue my orders and pause, and then let the game run at 5x speed the entire time. This will give you these are your alerts. So if somebody gets sick, if somebody dies, when a survivor joins, this will be what will tell you that information. Over here, you have your toggles. These are your toggles. So there is a hide. This will basically say all survivors everywhere, drop what you're doing immediately, go to the nearest residence, stay there, don't move, don't do anything, because there's bad stuff all around. This is so absolute that if you leave this mode on, they will sit in their resident zone until they die of hunger and thirst. So you don't ever want to just leave this on, because one, they're not going to do anything, and two, they're going to stay in there until they die. So this is emergencies only. I don't really have a use for it yet. Maybe in future versions when zombie waves and nighttime is a bigger threat. But right now, you probably won't be using this too much. Survivors will automatically store all items on the ground. This is your auto pickup button. I usually run with this on. Very recently, it was fixed so that survivors will only pick up what they have seen. So if there's a zombie way over here on the other side of the map who, attacks this tree for whatever reason, and it drops a piece of wood here, your survivors who have never seen that before won't, with auto pickup on, they won't go way over here and then pick up that tree unless they've physically walked over here and seen that tree before. So anything within their sight or that they remember seeing before, they will automatically pick up. This pretty much you always want on. You don't ever really want this off. Survivors will automatically repair broken structures. So zombies are going to attack. They're going to take down your walls. This will repair them and bring them back to full health. Survivors will automatically harvest crops when ready. Yeah, you pretty much want this on too. I kind of think these should be default on, but that's just my personal opinion. So the different mouse modes. Pressing 1 will give you the default. This is just your regular selector. I can select a person. You'll see him over there. That's basically it. Right-clicking deselects, left-clicking selects. You can click and drag, but you're only going to select one thing, one person. So yeah, that is about it for that. Attack. When we start the game, we will spawn critters around here during the day, and at night there will be zombies. You can press 2, click and drag, or click on, and that will issue an attack order. If you don't have auto pickup on, then you will have to manually pick up with the 3 button. You can either click on these or you can press the corresponding button. You can see I'm pressing 1, 2, 3. So if you just press 3, click and drag, they will get an order to pick up all the things in that zone. So if you press 4, this is your harvest job. You're going to start off harvesting as soon as you start. This should be one of your first orders that you give. So if you press 4 and then you click and drag over an area, these will now all be set to be harvested. You're going to want to start with some wood and some grass. So wood is obviously for building. These bushes here also give wood, but these tiles right here, these give grass, or these grass tiles give seeds. Seeds are important. Seeds are going to be what help you build your farm, and the farm is very important to survival. You definitely need food. You need all the food that you can get. So a little bit of wood and all the grass that you can, well, probably not all the grass, but a lot of grass right off the bat. You're going to want to harvest. And a little bit of stone. Not too much stone, but you're going to need some stone. You might as well get it started. Stone is a second tier resource, so once you have a little bit of wood, once you have a little bit of grass, then you really want to be concerned about stone. But it's pretty quick. Like you're gonna, once you get the seeds, then you're gonna want to like evenly spread wood and stone. So next is destroy. Destroy is you don't like where that building thing is placed, and you accidentally build an outhouse instead of a defense turret, and you don't need an outhouse, so you want to destroy it. So you just click and drag and on the object when you have this, and it will go destroy it. I can't destroy the trees because that's a harvest job. It's a different type of thing. But if I had an object and something that I built and I want to get rid of, then I will click and drag to destroy it. Don't use this too often, because once you have an object built, you can right click on it, you'll get a context menu, and you can move it somewhere else. So if you built it in the wrong spot, you don't have to destroy it and rebuild it. You just have to right click and move. So I'll end up doing that more often than I will destroying it. One thing to note with destroy is you will get a random resource back. So if we come look at, say, the cooker takes wood planks, it takes stone, and it takes metal plate. If you destroy a cooker, you will get a small portion of one of those resources back, either wood, stone, or metal, back from the cooker. You won't get all of it back, so destroy will get you a little bit back. Cancel jobs. Cancel jobs should be pretty self-explanatory. I issued all these jobs over here. I don't want them anymore. I can cancel them. Apparently cancel doesn't work on whatever these are. These look like the bushes. So the bushes can't be canceled for whatever reason. We'll talk to SFS Ben about that, but I'm going to go ahead and reissue my harvest jobs for these because I want all of those harvested. And get the trees harvested and get these harvested. Okay. Reset all of those harvest jobs. We'll leave the stone as is. We don't need the stone yet. So then we have set priorities. Set priorities takes you into the priority view. All jobs start with a default priority of 5. If you'd like to impact that, You click on the lowest to highest. So say we want the grass to be the highest priority, then we come over here and set them all to 1. There's a little wonkiness with this. This is a beta, so I don't necessarily think that they're going to start going after these ones first. I haven't really explored. I don't tend to alter their priorities very much, so I don't know how well this works, but we'll find out. So that is priority view. Then you have remove zones. We haven't set any zones yet, so we can't remove them, but let's just go ahead and throw a resident zone out here wherever. Say this is not where I'm going to put this resident zone. I don't like that spot. It's in the middle of everything, and there's just not a lot of room to work with, so I'm going to go ahead and remove zone. Simple. It's self-explanatory. Doesn't really need much explanation. And that is 8. So 1 through 8 gives you your top mouse mode functions. Then over here on the upper right, you have your views. So I'm going to go back to default and click on default view. We've got the default view, not anything special there. Temperature is a thing. You have a temperature view, and when you are in temperature view, you can see it's 70 degrees all around the world. This will change. It will get colder, it will get warmer. There are seasons, there's summer, there's winter. The things that you build in the world will impact the heat around you. Right now, cold will make you sick. Hot will just make your survivors complain and not necessarily do anything. You can see that where your mouse cursor is pointing, it will tell you the temperature. It is 70 degrees everywhere. That is temperature view. Then you have noise view. As they're doing things, they will emit noise, and it will be just like a white circle that pops up around them. Not much to show here without them actually doing something. Power view doesn't really have a function at the moment. It is a stub for something else, so don't worry about it. Priority view is basically the same as clicking on set priorities, only you don't have the set priorities option. When you click on set priorities, it takes you into this view and gives you this extra little widget here. But you can go into priority view on your own if you just want to see what are they supposed to be focusing on at the moment. For the most part, you're really only going to care about default view and maybe temperature view if you're interested. You shouldn't need to mess with any of these. Show jobs is the toggle for, you can see the red X's turning on and off. Usually I leave this on. Show wires, again, doesn't really do anything at the moment. Wires aren't needed for power. Show zones or not to show zones, again, we don't have any zones. If we just stick one of these out there, you can see that, hey, I can see the zone. So I'm going to clear this zone really quick. So let's talk about the lower right hand corner, and then we'll get into building with the lower left hand corner in a minute. So activities. This will show you what your survivors are tasked with. Right now, they are all tasked with these 3 jobs. This is probably why I couldn't cancel these jobs, because they already have picked them up as jobs to do. They're already technically in the process of doing them, even though the game is still paused. So what they are doing is displayed here in activity. Items. When you create a storage and you start harvesting stuff and you start building stuff, this is where this is your inventory. This will list all of your resources, your final products, everything shows up in here. We'll see that a little bit more later. This is the main window that you need to be concerned about in the lower right hand corner. This is your crafting queue. This also shows you how to craft a thing. So a workbench, or sorry, not a workbench, a wooden plank requires a workbench and 4 pieces of wood. So 4 pieces of wood and the crafting table workbench will make a wooden plank. Same with stone. You need a stone miner. There's also you can also harvest this from the stone over here. This gives you both stone and metal. So the next is scraps. Scraps come from metal ore and a smelter. Metal plate comes from 2 metal scraps and a smelter. And so on and so forth. Charcoal comes from a smelter and wood. So you can see that you've got the recipes all throughout here, what you need to get each thing. This number here represents how many of that thing do you want in your storage at any given time. So when I create a storage and I start mining wood, if I have enough wood to make up to 15 planks, then I should make 15 planks. I shouldn't ever hit 16 planks. I should never hit 20 planks. I should only be up to 15. If I ever use save 5 planks for something else, and go down to 10, then my survivors should immediately queue up a job to create 5 more planks as long as I've got the wood for it. So hopefully that explains this. This is the number that you always want in your storage. I always want 15 planks on hand at any given time. So I am going to say 15. I probably don't need a number there. Oh, whoops. I right-clicked on accident. Scraps. I'm going to set basically everything starting out to a low number of 15. Charcoal, I don't really think that I need any of because I'm not going to be using generators. Charcoal is the power for generators. Last update, generators went out of meta. Now, cooked food. Critters are going to spawn. We're going to attack some critters. I'm going to set that to a number, but eventually we'll all become vegetarians. It's just inevitable that we all become vegetarians. Water. Water you want a lot of. I'm going to set it to 50. The tutorial says 25. No. You want a lot of water, especially when you start getting more survivors. Have like 20 water per survivor. I end up just jacking this up throughout my play session. Lots and lots and lots of water. You cannot have too much water because they will start doing other things. If you issue a long job, they'll forget how to get water. You want a lot of water on hand. Always keep extra water. I even create a special storage area just for water, and you'll see that later. So rations, this gets into the cooking aspect. I'm going to go ahead and set 15 for these. Soup is crafted from meat and veggies. I'm going to set 15. Bread is crafted from wheat. I'm going to set 15. This is medicine. So medicine takes a workbench, and ochre berries, which you grow in a farm. You want lots of medicine on hand because they will get sick in the cold. Now we're into the fun stuff. This is weapons. I'm going to start with saying give me 3 bats. Give me 3 pistols, give me 3 SMGs, give me 3 warm hats to combat the cold, and then ammo isn't really a thing right now. Don't ever create any ammo. Don't put any ammo orders in. It's just a waste of material. You have infinite ammo at the moment until the dreaded update where ammo becomes a thing. So that goes over your orders. This is a decent setup for your first few minutes. Low orders on these so that you actually get them out and move on to the next order. You don't want to say, well, 99999. Well, then they're always going to be crafting wood planks, and they're never going to move on to a different job. So low numbers except for water. Water is super important. It's the most important thing in this menu. Always have lots of water. Then you can go look at your survivors. You have Better Nam. And this gives you his stats and his perks and his pros and his cons. As you get more survivors, this is your only way to see this information. And again, if you hover over them, you can see that. You can manage what jobs he can do. If I don't want him to have a destroy job or harvest job or crafting, I just want him researching, hunting, cooking, collecting, refueling, and repairing, then I would set him like this. Oh yeah, and there's also build. If I wanted him to do absolutely nothing for whatever reason, I can set it to nothing. Or, I just want him to be a collector. As other people harvest, he comes and collects, and that's all he does. So you can sort of customize them. I let all of them do whatever all of the time. I don't really mess with this, but once you get a larger number of survivors, maybe you want to tweak this a little bit. You can see the equipment that he has. Right now, he's just got a pick. You can get better things in the future. Bats, SMGs, winter hats. You saw it in the crafting menu. This is where you would see what he has picked up and is carrying on him, both equipment and items wise. So that's about it for this, other than here's his health, here's his hunger level, here's his thirst level, and his tiredness meter. When the tiredness meter goes to the bottom, he'll go sleep. As the thirst and hunger meter empty out, then he should go try and find food and water. If they empty out completely, then he will start taking health damage. If his health falls to 0, he'll die. Wow, shocker. That basically explains this menu over here. Now to the fun part, to the crafting. We'll actually start doing something here. So this menu here is your zones. This is where you're going to start. The first thing that you're going to want to figure out is, where do I want my residence? The residence is where they're going to hang out when they don't have any jobs. They really shouldn't ever have no jobs, but at some point they're going to have no jobs. This is also where you're going to want to throw beds and other such things. So I usually make it a random width, but there's a specific height that I go with. One that I can have 2 beds and a walking path between them, and then obviously the walls. So you'll see it. So 2 square lengths for the walls, 2 square lengths for the first bed, 1 square length for the walking space, and then 2 more square lengths for the other bed. So right about this size is what I start with my first residence. So I'm gonna let go of that, and let's just jump over here to needs really quick. So this is your needs. This is where your things are. Just to really just explain what I meant by that. So you stick a cot. I usually stick a cot in the upper corner, leaving room to make walls. And then you can see that another cot will fit down here. Beds are a 1x2 item, so I usually do this. This gives them, it's aesthetically pleasing, and I like it. I'll usually stick one over here and then one over here, and then I will fill in these with regular, better beds. Cots are your tier 1 bed, beds are your tier 2 bed. You can see they take planks, they take refined materials, whereas this just takes wood and stone. It's not the most comfortable thing, but it'll do in a pinch. You absolutely want to have one of these out. Let's go back to zones and continue with this. So we've got a residence out. The next thing that we need is farms. So farms, I'm going to stick a single farm here, another farm here, and then I am going to get a much larger farm over here. All right. Actually, I'm gonna remove zones. I'm gonna do this again. I want a 1x2 over here, just a little bit bigger. This is going to be wheat. All right, this right here is going to be cotton. This right here is going to be ochre berries, and then this big one over here is going to be vegetables. All right. So how do you set that? How do you decide what these farms do? You zoned them, but your survivors aren't doing anything. You see the little icon that has the kind of the mouse looking thing with the green arrow saying click the right trigger, or well, click the right mouse button, and you get this farm type over here. You can only select one of these. So this one I said was going to be wheat. This one over here is going to be cotton, so we can get a few hats out. Eventually I'll change this to something else, either wheat or ochre berries or maybe even wood. And yes, this wood is basically like growing these trees. Wood is a renewable resource. So this one is going to be orchid berries. Orchid berries make medicine, so we want some of that, but we don't need a whole big thing. And then veggies. Veggies is what you can just directly eat. It is slower growing than wheat. Wheat grows faster, so I'm getting some wheat out first to turn into some bread. And then veggies, you want a great big farm of veggies so that you people don't starve and you don't have to micromanage hunting. All right, so we've got a farm zone out. Now we need a storage zone out. Where are we going to stick all of this junk? And I usually keep, as you can see, like a single walking space between them so I can stick other things there. We'll get to that when we get to needs. So let's go ahead and set some storage. I want a whole big thing of storage. You need a lot of storage space. So I'm just going to click and drag one big storage space. They will fill storage top to bottom, left to right. So if I were to create another storage space over here, they would fill this storage space before they fill this storage space. It also matters which one is laid down first. So when I come over here and create another storage zone right here for water, this is going to be my water only storage zone, and I change that by coming up here, right clicking, clicking none, and then only clicking water bottle. So now this storage space is only valid to have water in it. Even though this is here, since this was the second zone I made, unless I save and reset, there's a little quirk where they'll still try to fill this one up. But this zone, they'll never, once this zone runs out of space, then they will start filling this up with water. But I will always have a space for water. I will never run out of space for water. It's very, very important because this storage space will absolutely run out with junk and garbage and wood and stone and whatever other things. You'll need a lot of storage. So that's storage. Next up is waste. So you'll click waste. Waste I usually put a little ways away from the rest of my building. So I'm going to stick this over here. You don't want your landfill next to your farm. It's not hygienic. It's not aesthetically pleasing. So, I mean, there's no game reason why you couldn't have your storage right next to your waste. I just don't like it personally. So that's all of your zones. So now that you've got a nice, well thought out, game plan here, you move on to the next tab, which is power. Power, we're not really going to do anything about right now, but we'll go over all of the things in power. So you've got your wires. You don't really need to worry about wires right now. Wires don't do anything. Power just sort of flows magically to all of the things. Batteries store up to 500 power. When you mouse over a battery during the day, or at any given time, you can see if it's filling up or draining with power or holding steady. This is sort of your indicator whether you are consuming more power than you are generating. You can place more power consumption items than you have power generation items and end up running out of power. So this is sort of your, like, if you only have solar panels only generate energy during the day. So during the day, your battery would fill up. During the night, your battery would drain. This is sort of your indicator. It's a battery. It's how you store energy. The end. Lamps, they offer illumination. They require power. Solar panels generate power during the day. Generators generate power at all times, but they consume charcoal and they generate a lot of heat. A ridiculous amount of heat. Like when you mouse over this in temperature view, you're looking at like hundreds of degrees of heat on this thing. They pump out a lot of heat. So I used to build some generators to generate power during the night, but I'd enclose them in a room so that it's self-contained the heat. Can't do that now that they require charcoal as a resource, so I don't think that I'm going to be using them all that much. Incinerators, this is a new item with today's patch. It requires power, but it turns your waste into power. So we're probably going to stick a few of these up here near the waste so that they can generate some power for us by consuming this waste. Up until this update, waste was just waste. There was no purpose for it. So I like that we now have an incinerator. Wind turbine, I think this actually works now. It'll generate a little bit of power based on wind. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. The lab is the crafting station where you will do research in the future. Research isn't a thing right now. I usually craft one just to have one, just to get in the habit of having one for when they are useful. Your next tab is defenses. Defenses are turrets consume power, I believe. These are your automatic defenses. You'll put them around your perimeter. They will shoot Zims when Zims come close. Barbed wire is just a wall. It's a very low cost, low health wall. I don't really use it. Barricades I'll occasionally use. It's a 50 health wall. Sandbags are a little bit less health, but they only take stone. Again, I don't really use them. If I'm going to put up a pure defensive wall, it's going to be the barricade. Needs is super important. You are going to want to come in here immediately when you start. You see I already placed 2 cots. Beds eventually will get placed, and I'll just place them there. For some reason this update they are upside down. I think that you are going to be able to rotate them at some point, but I don't know how to do that at the moment. So beds are there. That's the tier 2 bed. They sleep in it. I don't know what else to say. Outhouses. Your survivors do have to take dumps. I usually take the outhouses and put them near the waste area. So usually just make a few. Your survivors are picky. They want more than 1 outhouse. They're going to need a few of them. I'll usually just drop out 3 or 4. They're not super expensive. They'll eventually get around to making them. Not really worried about them. AC unit. This is for regulating temperature. This makes things cold. I don't use many of these because, like I said, there's no consequence for your survivors being hot at the moment. Bonfire. This is going to give you cheap tier 1 illumination. I usually stick a few of these around the edges of my zones. It is going to generate heat though. It's going to generate a lot of heat, but it's also going to generate light. So this is probably overkill. I don't usually put that many, but just kind of showing you where I might put some bonfires if I were to put some out. Once we get power flowing, I'll move these to the outer edge. I won't necessarily destroy them, just put them farther away so that they generate less heat. Heater is a power object that doesn't provide light, but generates heat. The end. Bonfires are a little bit more efficient, I think, but you need to supply them with wood now. Grave. This is for when your people die. It requires a dead body. That little symbol right there that looks kind of like a cookie, that's a survivor corpse. That is the skull of a survivor. When someone dies, their body is just going to fall over where it dies. Eventually, if you tell a survivor to pick it up, they will pick it up, they will take it over here, they'll put it in the waste. Unless you build a gravestone, then they will take that body, they will bury it, and your survivors will be happier. Eventually, having dead bodies and waste lying around will negatively impact your survivors. Right now, it's just ugly, and aesthetically, it's more pleasing to have a gravestone. Well, this is probably one of the single most important items in the game, building a well. It doesn't need to go near water, but it's aesthetically pleasing for me to have a couple and put them near water. You don't necessarily need more than one, but if there are more than one survivor queuing up jobs, I usually just build a couple. It doesn't hurt to have just one necessarily. I usually, like I said, build a couple. Toilet for your indoor pooping needs. This is an outhouse, but it's an in-house. You should know what a toilet is. Once I got further in the game, I was taking an outhouse, and I was, once I started getting into like just designing and making the house kind of look a little bit cooler, I would tack on an outhouse to a room and make it an indoor toilet. So Ben saw what I was doing and was like, okay, fine, here's an indoor toilet. Be happy. So I got my indoor toilet. You're welcome. That's all of the needs. A place to sleep, a place to keep warm, and a place to poop. And not having dead bodies and not dying of thirst. Those are all your needs. This is basically a decent start. We could probably hit go at this point, except for the fact that we need some crafting stuff. You're going to need a workbench. You're going to need a cooker. You're going to need a smelter. You're going to need a hand mill. And you're going to need a miner. So, what do all of these buildings do? And there's a reason that I stuck them in the position that I stuck them in. Remember when I talked about how the storage zones go top down, left, right? They're going to start putting the wood right here. Now, if I had put the crafting thing over here, they would pick up the wood from this side and walk it all the way over to this side, do the thing with the smelter, and then walk it all the way back over to this side and put it down again. It just makes more sense to have your crafting areas not very far from your storage area and where that wood actually is. If I were to create another storage area over here, I'd probably build another set of crafting tools over here. So that's why I put them all along this line. What do they do? Well, that goes back over here to your crafting queue, your workbench. You can see, just get these a little bit closer. Workbench makes wood. The miner over here makes stone. It generates stone. Your smelter right here handles your metal and ore needs, as well as burning charcoal. Your cooker cooks your food. Your workbench is where you make rations. That doesn't make sense to me. I think that should be in the cooker, but I will file that away as a bug later on. Your your cooker makes soup. Your hand mill, this turns your wheat into bread. Then there is your workbench handles making medicine. Workbench handles making bats and other weapons and such. So for the most part, this is your most important thing, followed closely by the smelter and the cooker, and then the hand crank for creating bread. And then, of course, you're probably going to want to generate some stone once you run out of this natural resource. There's no way to get stone back like there is with wood making a farm. Okay, that was a lot of exposition. That's basically done. We can go ahead and press play. So I've just pressed spacebar to unpause the game, and you can see a bunch of stuff just spawned all over the map. You've got some water here. These things are rations. You've got some medicine. The game gives you stuff to start with. And as your survivors saw all of these things, you can see that there is this up arrow animation with a circle, this means that a job has been queued to pick this item up. And you can see that that's not on the things in the storage. If it's in the storage already, they're not going to issue a job to pick it up because it's already in storage. If you wanted them to pick this up, you could come over here, click on the pickup, and then highlight your storage, and you can see now they have that pickup job. Basically, this just means they're going to reorganize the storage and take all of it from this far end of the storage and put it in order in the left-hand storage. So I'm going to hit Q a few times and get them at 5x speed, and you can see them coming over here, and they're chopping trees down. They're doing these orders that I issued earlier, and the wood is on the ground. You can see as soon as they see it, they do the pickup because we've got auto pickup set. Apparently I issued a mining job over here. Now they're going and getting all these seeds. Once they pick up these seeds, they will start planting them over here. You can see them planting the seed. You need seeds to get your farm going, which is why the grass orders are so important. You want to get your farm going as soon as possible. One of the most important things. Now that we've got that going, we can see that there's some wildlife over here that spawned as well. So if we press 2 and do an attack action, you can see that it now has a target over it. Eventually they will pick up this job. Attack is not stop everything you're doing and attack this right now. It is, here's a job for going and killing this thing. And you can see there's bunnies too. We're gonna kill the bunny. It's sad, but the bunny's gotta die so I can eat. And see them picking stuff up, putting them into their storage. All right, so while they do this, he just went and took a crap, or so, no, he built the outhouse. You can see them trying to build jobs, and if a job cannot be done right now, you'll see this little exclamation point in the yellow triangle. Not enough to build, need more planks and scrap. So it tells you what it needs to finish this job. Not enough to build, need more stone. So I need to give them another harvest job to get more stone, and I'm just going to sort of carve out this area over here a little bit. It's a lot of stone orders. We're going to need some more wood. Now, it's nighttime. During nighttime, you're going to encounter zombies, and we're just going to let them go for a second and do their thing. Eventually, you'll see zombies start to come up and attack, and they will automatically defend themselves. So now we're basically in a hurry up and wait. Like I said, eventually zombies will... Oh, sorry, not zombies, Zims, because you have to give them a different Z name. Zims will come out. Might not be the first night, because it is... The first few nights are easy mode. Let's see if we can find a Zim. I don't know if we'll be able to see one on the map. Oh, there we go. There's a Zim. That's a Zim right there. Oh, he's hiding. He's a shy Zim. He decided that he was not wanting to be spied on. So you can see there's not many zombies the first night. That will change as nights go on. Here's a Zim. There's a guy, and you can see that they all look different as well. Here's a fat Zim with a little bit of hair, or rot. I'm not sure if that's hair or rot. There's another one. Probably rot. Alright, so now they're just sort of idling. You don't ever want them to idle. And oh shit, why don't they have... Not enough to build, need more wood, need more wood. Alright, so we gotta get wood, and we gotta get wood fast. Because they will die of thirst very easily without that. And it looks like maybe that thing that I was talking about with storage was fixed. No, these probably just spawned there. Never mind. Never mind, ignore that. And you can see, so this red indicator right here indicates how much fuel is in this fire. And you can see if you mouse over a creation, you'll see who it was made by. This was made by Bitternam. So we need more metal plate, we need more planks to make these. The cooker isn't made yet, we need more metal planks, or a metal plate. So we've got a little bit of meat here. You can see that we got some meat. We'll issue that attack job. So as soon as they got the wood, they came over here and made these, and now they're making water to make sure that we're up to that threshold that we want. If we look over here in items, we can see we've got 44 water. So realistically, they should be making more water. And you can see that making the water does not decrease this number. This is just the threshold that we want them to have on hand at any given time. So they should be there should be a job queued up to make more water. They're just busy with other jobs at the moment. They haven't gotten around to it, which is why you want a lot of water orders in. And you can see Betternam is going and making water. And now if we look at our... he's drinking as much as he's eating. You can see over here, we've got Alex farming. One thing to take note is when this menu is up, you cannot zoom in and out. You cannot zoom in and out because it is scrolling. It is trying to scroll over here. So what you're going to want to do is right click somewhere that's not a zone, because then you're going to be scrolling the zone. Right click on just the dry ground, and then you can zoom in and out again. Very important point to remember that it is a little on the frustrating side. I would rather that it only scrolled when I was moused over this, and then if I moused over anywhere else, it would scroll on that, whatever I'm hovered over. But that's not how it is yet. Hopefully that will be changing in the future. SFS Ben is very responsive to feedback like that. So you can see that they still haven't built this need more planks and scraps. So scraps come from the iron ore, so we need more metal harvested. So just paying attention to what you have on hand. Right now, we have a farm going. We have some water. We have some wells. We have our crafting areas built up. We've almost got to start where we can let them sort of just go and do their thing autonomously, and we're only on day 2. So we've got a good start so far. And you can see that I'm still running this on 5x speed. I think 1x speed is way too slow. They're just going to do their thing, do their harvesting, and the difference between stone and metal, the darker one is stone, the whiter one is metal ore. And you can see that they will stack up to a certain amount. Wood is stacking up to 28, stone is stacking up to 24. You've got your meat over here. Oh, here we go, here we go. I heard the Zims. Well, somebody showed up somewhere, and then it turned daylight. When it turns daylight, the Zims will die. So you don't have to worry about them during the day. If you need to go on an expedition, like if you used up all the stone and you have to like travel way over here to get stone, you'll want to do that during the day. If you want to go travel and get, you want to go get some meat, you're going to want to do that during the day. So we can hunt, we can get some food. They're actually really responsive with that. They got a lot more responsive. So, oh, somebody built a gun. All right, so now we're really doing good. You can see them coming down here, picking up the meat. We've got quite a bit of meat now. Usually I don't really focus on meat, but just because you have to manually do those attack orders, there's no automatically go hunt and get meat. Sometimes the attack order will fail if it moves while they're attacking it. If they can't complete the attack order, they will give up on it. So you might have to order the attack order a second time. And that was not something I actually wanted to do. Okay, but that works. If there's some weirdness with highlighting outside the bounds of the map, try not to do that. I once accidentally did a harvest job like this, where it just decided, hey, go harvest the entire edge of the map. Only it was more like I was up in this corner and I did it down, or I was in the bottom corner and did the harvest job like that. So I ended up killing like half my survivors with that order. So be careful with that. So keeping all these bonfires lit is becoming a challenge. So need more wood. You can see we've got some bats. So once we've got some bats, you don't really want bats. Bats are just your tier 1. It's better than nothing. I think that we've got some pistols out, so I'm going to get rid of the pistol order and just have some SMG orders. And that's going to take a lot of metal plate. But once you get SMGs, you're good. Alright. Once we get set here, though, the next thing that we want to really do before we even start worrying about the SMGs is get power up and running. Power is going to be very important. Almost as important as getting these guys set up. So once we go ahead and get this smelter cooking, cannot do job, not enough to craft, need more scraps. And then not enough to build, need more planks. So that needs more wood. So this, when it's got a wrench and the logo, that means there's a job that is pending on this thing that can't be completed because I don't have enough of a thing. So I can't make more ore to fill my my crafting request. I can't meet this because I don't have the scraps to do it. Now these two, I need more metal plate to be able to make the auto miner, and I need more planks to make the what was this thing? The wheat grinder. So, all right, they're working on the wood. So in a second they will start doing that. Alex is over here harvesting stuff. And this, when they're harvesting, they get either a chance to get a seed back or the thing that is planted in this garden, in this case, a carrot, or a veggies as they're called. And the higher Alex's skill with harvesting right here, so he's got a 6 for harvesting. Eventually that'll go up the more that they do it. That little thing right there means he's thirsty. You can see the thirst meter is getting towards empty. So hopefully Alex will be smart enough to go get some water. But it doesn't look like... Okay, we've got a little bit of water here. And there's a job queued up to get more water. So Alex just went and got some water. Alex should be... Yeah, so Alex picked up some water. You can see Alex is cold right now. If we switch over to the temperature view, you can see that it's about 80 near the fires, but out here it's 70. I wouldn't really consider that super cold, but I mean it is wet, so maybe Alex is more like me and would rather be warm than cold. All right, so this is pretty much it. Just making sure that your resources are balanced. You know, we need more planks, we need more scrap. Oh, and zombies are coming. Zims are attacking. You saw that they killed it pretty quick. One of our guys has a pistol, so just, you know, nice little headshot. So I'm going to go ahead and order them to harvest some more from up here. Get some more seeds, because we don't look like we have a whole lot of seeds. These green things are the seeds. We've got 15 seeds. We don't really have any veggies because we're turning it into soup. So there's one thing to note is when you're looking at this, you see 98% fresh. The food does have an expiration timer on it. You can't keep food forever anymore. You used to be able to, but now the food will turn into waste, and they will have to take it over here to the waste area. So they're alternating between doing the harvest jobs, and when you see this triangle on the harvest jobs, it just means that they can't get to it yet, obviously, because it's surrounded by other harvest jobs. So this is a decent spot. We're right near the edge of the map. We're kind of in the corner, so we can build out this way, and we don't really have a lot of avenues of attack for Zims to come through. Zims will randomly just spawn on Earth and then come after you when they hear you. So you'll want to set up a defensive perimeter as soon as you can get to power, and hopefully we'll get to power. We'll just do, maybe we'll go to day 10 and then call it. That should be a decent way to show everyone how to start in this game, an explanation of the UI and how to go about playing the game from the person who's consistently been on the number 1 slot on the leaderboard. Yes, I'm breaking my arm, patting myself on the back for that. Hopefully with this, it'll show you guys how to play the game, and you guys will give me some competition, and maybe one of you will take that number 1 spot from me. giving away trade secrets here. So one thing to consider also is that as you're harvesting this great big pile of stone, this is a natural barrier that is protecting you from Zims. You could even build inside of it, just hollow it out here. Now the Zims will, if they hear you, like, so if a Zim heard me and he was in here in this little thing and he heard somebody over here, he will try to make a straight line to that person and he will destroy this stone. Stone has hit points, it can be destroyed, and the Zims will destroy it to try and get to your survivor. That will leave the stone on the ground for you to pick up, so they're kind of just harvesting stuff for you. But being inside stone is not like a be-all. You know, if I hollowed this out, it would give me some protection, but it would not be the ultimate protection because the Zims could still get to me through it. All right, hey, they finally made a bed. I just let them do some of their crafting stuff, and you can see him just like congregating over here. So I'm building up a pile of stone. I am going to come over here to what we haven't talked about yet, walls and floors on these two sections right here. So I don't worry about walls and floors until much later in the game, like once I've got all of my needs set up. I specifically did not talk about walls and floors earlier on because you don't want to set them day one. They are a waste of resources day one. What you want to do is once you have all of your crafting things set up, once you've got your farm set up and going, once you've got your beds and your outhouses and you've got all of your needs taken care of, then go work on the luxuries, because walls and floors are luxuries, they are not needs. So how do I do this? Usually I will jump straight to stone. I don't necessarily do metal. Just jump straight to stone and go ahead and make the walls here. And then I will count out, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I fucked that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's odd, so I'm just going to do 3 and then 3 and then make a door. And that's just aesthetics. If this has been an even number that I'd put here, I would have done like a door over here and a door over here just to keep it symmetrical and pretty looking. It's not necessary. That's just one of my quirks. Don't worry about it. So now I'm going to go back to, or I'm going to come over here. So of the different kinds of walls, let's go over that really quick. There's wooden wall with health 10. There's stone wall with health 50. There's metal wall with health 100. And yes, there's a second metal wall over here with health 100. That's a bug that should be addressed, but it's not really, it's a super low priority, so I haven't bugged Ben about it yet. Then you have regular doors and jail doors. I don't necessarily know that there's a difference between the two. I've never actually built a jail door. Eventually, you're going to have to capture Zims and research cure, so that's why this is here. So I just make regular doors. It's got 10 health. It's super cheap to make. Just throw it on there. It's how they get in and out of things, obviously. Then there are fences and gates, which are low health, just cosmetic, aesthetic stuff. You could go, you know, fence in your storage area or whatever. It's for making pretty. It's not effectively useful for anything. It's the same health as the wooden wall. I jump straight to stone because there's plenty of stone. Stone is usually in abundance. There's only been one patch where stone has been scarce. In every other build of the game, stone has been, you've been overflowing in stone. And now with this stone generating building, the miner, I expect stone to be overflowing again. So those are all the types of walls. Floors follow the same thing. You've got a wooden floor, you've got a stone floor, you've got a metal floor, and dirt is, so let's go ahead and lay out our stone floor. You can lay floor under built objects like the bed. Beds, turrets, campfires, you can put stone under it. Say I didn't want these, or I wanted like a single patch of dirt, like I built too much stone floor. I could come in here and lay some dirt down. I need to wait for them to actually build this. Like I could put dirt down over here, and now that will basically, dirt is destroy floor. So once they get around to doing that, you can see that he just ripped up the stone floor and made it dirt again. It's a cosmetic, aesthetic sort of thing, because you can put farm on top of stone. That doesn't make much sense to me, so I asked for a way to be able to make a dirt floor, and that's why we have this. Dirt is basically remove floor, long story short. So that is walls and floors, and again, that's a luxury, that's not a necessity. You want to do that after you get all your other needs sorted. And now that we have this and we have our farm going and we have some resources, I'm going to mine some more metal over here, and I usually do it in short strips. Just, you don't want to give them too big of a harvest job. Oh, he's got an SMG. You don't want to give them too big of a harvest job, because I've found that sometimes they will get stuck in that harvest job and then not take care of their needs. Some of the times I've had mass survivor deaths were when I was like, okay, harvest all of this. That's a little overkill for them. They don't really handle that very well. So usually in short strips, like I'm like peeling off layers of the massive stone here. So as they do that, they're going to get more metal plate, and it's time to start setting up power. So I'm going to figure out where I want power. Usually I will do power just attached to the back of the building, and maybe I will do that and just not build any generators. The way I like to do power is I like solar panels, and I will just alternate rows of solar panels here, and I will do this one row at a time. Because if I were to come through with batteries and start building batteries in here, well, it physically blocks people. So just do it one row at a time. As soon as they go through and they build these, then I will lay the next row and just walk through, you know, building up power that way. This is a video that's on the longer side, but this is a long style game. Each day is significant in length, and the amount of things that you have to do is significant in length. So to really give you a good first start of this, it feels like there really needs to be a much longer video. So anyone who has stayed through and watched this whole thing, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did get something out of this, and maybe you want to see more of just like streaming this or whatever, or just, you know, hanging out and chatting, then let me know in the comments below, and maybe I will stream some of this on my my Twitch, which is MasterGamingVR. It's part of the MasterGamingVR channel, but it's usually where I do the random flat stuff that I don't want to put on the YouTube channel. Like when Rage 2 drops in a couple of days, I will probably stream my gameplay of that. Alright, so they have started... Oh, more zombies, more Zims. So they've started to build the solar panels. We're starting to get power. And they're out of metal plate. So we need to build more metal plate. At this point, I am going to bump this up. I'm going to take this up to 25... 25, 125, not 125. You can also click this as well. I don't find it as convenient, you know, clicking 10. I'm going to leave cooked meat as it is, because I'm actually going to, no, I'm going to leave it as is, just in case I have the random urge to kill a little wolf. Like that. Kill the wolf, kill the bunny. It's food. Water, I am going to, because I'm paranoid about water. I promise you I'm paranoid about water. I'm going to bump it up to 100. Rations, I'm going to say keep 25 rations. Go ahead and keep 25 soup. Keep 25 bread. And I'm going to say 30 medicine. No, not 203. 30 medicine. Just because... I mean, I'm never going to hit that, because this is such a small patch for Orky Berry that I'm never going to have enough Orky Berry to hit that quota. But this is, to me, medicine is more a higher priority than the food. I'm gonna have food just because I'm growing food. Like, they can eat the raw veggies. I don't know if they can eat the raw wheat, but they can definitely eat the raw veggies. Bats I don't need. SMGs I can keep. It looks like pretty much... Well, no, maybe not. We probably still need some more cotton and some more warm hats. So I'm going to leave that as is. So just make sure you're adjusting your crafting queue as your needs are changing. 252. That's not what I wanted here. There we go. I screwed that up. I'm glad I looked back at that. I don't need 252 scraps. Alright, so they are doing their thing. They've cleared out this harvest order, so I'm going to hit 4, and I'm going to harvest all of this and just sort of flatten it off. And eventually, I was hoping that a survivor would join us. There is a random chance for a survivor to join you. I don't know exactly how it works, but sometimes on day 2 you'll get a survivor. Sometimes it won't be until day 50 until you get another survivor. Definitely is beneficial to have more survivors. You end up consuming more food and more water quicker, and you need to bump your crafting queue up again when that happens, but it is absolutely worth it in getting the more manpower. You're able to do things quicker. Just all the obvious benefits of having more worker bees to go do your bidding. So as soon as we get enough metal plate to finish this one last guy... Oh, so sometimes your jobs will disappear. Beta is beta. Let's see, did it... Yeah, it doesn't look like it was built anywhere else. So sometimes jobs just vanish for no apparent reason. Just go ahead and rebuild it. It'll be fine. You can see that icon right there, that down icon, there is a job queued to refuel this. And I think that what I am going to do... Well, no, I don't really necessarily need it. I was going to say what I was going to do was build a farm for trees, but not quite yet. So every night, you'll see this over here, every night your game autosaves. You can also press escape, come here, save, and we're going to call this demo. And go ahead and save demo. And after you've saved, you can see that your game is paused. Don't forget to unpause. There's so many times I've just been letting this game run to get a high score and saved and then forgot to unpause and then look back at it 10-15 minutes later to check in on my survivors, and the game hasn't progressed at all because I was dumb and didn't unpause it. So as soon as, I mean, he's holding metal plate. He's got metal plate in his hand. You can see him holding metal plate. What's he doing over here? Come build, come build. Needs more metal plate. Well, somebody's got metal plate in their hands. You see your guy. For some reason, he's got this comfy bed over here, but he still decides, I'm going to sleep in the wooden cot. As soon as they get through this harvest job and they pick up all of these things, they should go back to building, and we should have enough metal plate that we can also start putting batteries down. Right now, I could go into power and click on a lamp, and you just stick a lamp out in the world. And I could also go into defense, click on a turret, and stick a couple of turrets out in the world. Stick a turret over here, stick a turret over here, throw one, stick over here, and over here. So now we'll build some turrets. So now we're starting to get defenses up. Once you get some of these turrets up, and once you get some power up, then you are sitting in a position where you can almost let them be autonomous. They will handle their own needs. The crafting queue will address making sure that they are keeping the number of resources that you want them to keep, that they are creating food for themselves, that they are getting water for themselves, and you can come back in 10-15 minutes. This whole storage will probably be filled up with junk, will probably be filled up with carrots, and hopefully a lot of water. Like I said, I can't harp enough on the fact that you want all of the water all the time. You see somebody's got to take a dump. Hopefully they don't do it in the carrots. Don't poop in my veggies. If they don't have a bathroom, they can't get to a bathroom, they can't find a bathroom, they will poop on the ground. And then somebody will have to pick that poop up and come over here. Oh, look, somebody already did it. Somebody, some nasty body already pooped on the ground. That's disgusting. Don't poop on the ground, kids. So it's just all about that farm right now. If you could come pick up all these things and finish your work over here, that'd be great. Because we just hit day 10, and I said I was going to go to day 10. He definitely slowed down skill execution. It used to not take that long. You can see him, that symbol right there, the temperature and the blob, that is him being too hot. And the reason he's too hot is because it's like 80 degrees, which I don't necessarily think is too hot to me. I mean, that's nice. I want it to be right around 75. I think Ben just likes it cold because he's weird. So eventually, oh, okay. I didn't even notice that they completed it. So now that they've completed this, I'm going to go ahead and come back over here to power, and I'm going to start building some batteries so that we have power during the night. So I'm just going to stick the one there because it's blocked on all sides. If I were to create, put this one here, put this one here, put this one here, you wouldn't be able to reach that one, and it would just never ever be finished. So eventually they're going to come do this. Oh, need more scraps. There's plenty of scraps, like just lying on the ground over here if you want to come pick these up. So in theory, you could come over here to set priorities, set highest priority, and tell them that picking these things up is the highest priority. Come over here and do this now. But I rarely ever use that because it doesn't really seem to be very effective. Well, he came over and started doing it, but then he decided, I'm going to go harvest some food. Let's go back to priority view. Yeah, they're still all number 1. There's a number 1 priority over here. That's weird. It's interesting that these are popping up as a number 1 priority. That's why they're spending so much time over here. I need another survivor. And then since they haven't been able to get to these have dropped in priority. There's a weird method to this priority thing that I haven't necessarily quite figured out. Those was priority 2. If I can get them working on some of this stuff. No, they're really obsessed with that garden. Alright, so maybe we don't get to see power. Oh no, this lamp is on, right? Yeah. So here's the lamp. You saw that it had power and it was lit up. Oh, we've got a turret over here. Alex is doing work. Everything I see is built by Alex. So there's a bear in our bed, so let's go ahead and kill the bear in our bed. If these turrets were built, they would start auto-attacking that that bear over there. And if the bear wanders over to this turret, hopefully this turret will start taking it out. Nope. He's going to wander away from it. I mean, if he wants to give us raw meat, then I guess I say we just take the raw meat. Come on, buddy. Come over to this guy. Come over to this guy. Get a little bit closer to this turret. Their range, I think, is like right about here. So once he crosses this threshold, he's toast. They're obsessed with those vegetables. This has got to be a new thing with this patch. Oh, come on, a little bit higher. Higher, up. Up. No, he's going to hide under the stone, apparently. Whatever, he's gone. Not worried about him anymore. Alright, and you can see right there, there's guts. Guts comes from the zombies. You pile the guts up, and eventually you can burn them for power. Well, they don't appear to want to do anything other than harvest vegetables. So you can see the light is giving off light. Oh, they finally killed the bear. I don't know why they're doing what they're doing. Beta is beta. I'd tell them to pick up more scraps, but and they've got metal ore here and they've got harvest jobs here, so whatever. So basically that's what I would do. These would be solar panels, this row would be batteries, solar panels, batteries, solar panels, batteries, alternating until I felt, until I had a few rows. And then I would drop the turrets kind of like how I had them at the corners, peppered throughout the center a little bit. I would right click and move object and move these out some. You'll see that eventually he will come move this object and put it in its new place. If they were to, you can see it's got a priority now. Eventually they would have done that. But they're really focused on this garden. I don't know why the garden is getting such VIP treatment, but at least my guys aren't going to go hungry, so there's that. But I think that wraps up pretty much all of the intro to Rekindling stuff that I wanted to get out there. Basically, what kind of zones you need, in what ratio should you be looking at. Maybe a little bit less on the veggie side of things. Just because of how it's behaving right now. You're not going to run out of food. You can see that we've got plenty of soup, we've got plenty of bread, we've got plenty of rations. Getting the water out, we've got 29, 23, 20 water. If we come look at our items, we can see we've got 74 water, 23 rations, 18 bread, got plenty of medicine. So we're doing decent. We've also got a whole lot of stone. We don't really need stone. But the beauty of that is when you get so much stone, when you're walking on floor, you walk faster. So you can just pepper the ground with stone and just have the entire ground be stone, and you'll move faster across that. So your survivors will get a speed boost by having everything stone. The only place that I don't put floor is underneath my farms. You can do it, I believe, or at least you could a few patches ago. It just doesn't make sense to me, so I don't do it. So let's go ahead and save this as Demo 1. I usually have some sort of naming convention like that where I don't overwrite my previously saved games. There is the autosave, but autosave overwrites itself, so you don't have like a history. If within the next 5 days I were to do something really stupid that I couldn't recover from, and then save it, and then realize within the next 5 days that, wow, that decision was really stupid, I'd be screwed and I'd have to start all over. So I usually keep a hierarchy of saves so I can go back to them as needed. So another pro tip. And you see that now they are actually starting to fill in the stone, and which tiles they fill in is random. But that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. Feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Like I said, let me know if this was interesting or helpful, and any questions that you have, drop them in there. Feel free to join the Rekindling Discord, and I will see you guys later.